As you can see here, there's two lights that used to be right here. I managed to find a way to get them out. Now, if you take off a little Lexus step right here, there's 3 bolts that you take out. They're 10 mil. And then you can kind of manipulate the little aluminum piece backwards. And there's 1 screw. See how I'm kind of moving that? There's 1 screw that screws in. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. And I just unscrewed it and the whole thing just plopped out. And then you get 2 sets of these. I don't quite know how I'm going to mount it on out. What I like about this design is that it's got a little O-ring right here. So water, well, it'll prevent water from getting inside here. I don't know how I'm gonna mount it under the vehicle yet, but I'm just kind of going with it for right now. Right, so under we go. Now we don't have the running board. Oh, look at all that room for activity.
It looks amazing.
Look at that. That looks like what you would buy from a store.
Should have been.
Look at all the floor space.
So
We
much.
do aerobics in here.
So many activities.
This is the factory plug here. And let me see if I can find something that I can hook into. I could take one of the bolts I used for the step rails and just kind of recycle that and mount the light pointed downwards right here. I may fab that up. Stand by. All right, so I took my needle nose pliers and kind of pulled out that little space right there so I could take one of the bolts that I used that were holding the step rails up and kind of send it through so that, you know, it had enough room to actually fit. And I think that's the route I'm gonna go for right now, but I'm about to throw it up there and see how it goes. You gotta remember, I know we're gonna have a little bit of excess wire here, but I got all the zip ties in the world. We're gonna make it happen. Right, so I've got the light right here. Obviously, you're gonna mount something similar like that. But when I put it up here, I swear it looks like it was just made to be there. It's already shining in the direction that it was going to be shining in. And like I said, I got all the zip ties in the freaking world. Trying to figure out the best way to do the wiring, but when the door's closed you can't see any of it. Like, you can't see the light boxes hanging down or anything unless you like get way low, and then you still really can't tell. And I'm also gonna be replacing those bulbs with some LED bulbs to kind of brighten that up a little bit. I'm telling you, it's gonna be sweet, and it didn't cost me anything to do it. After I trim it off and whatnot, even from a distance, I'm not going to be able to tell those are even there. So I think that's the route I'm going to go. Nothing's pinching, nothing's pulled too tight. You know, I think that is looking like the move. All right, so I just got done rerouting the running board lights to back under the vehicle minus the running board. I may go with a completely different design. I may strip those wires back and put one of those flush mount fisheye LEDs like you normally would put in a boat. That way I know there'd be marine grade and whatnot. They might last a little bit longer. It might be a little bit easier to deal with. I know there's a decent amount of wire length I can remove from that and make it a little bit more clean. But for right now, it didn't cost me anything, and this is a cool little easy project you could do right at your own home. The reason that I like this so much, or this idea, was, you know, I don't like running boards. I'm 6'5", I sure don't need running boards. That truck is on 37s and doesn't have running boards. Granted, it is kind of a pain to get in and out of, but I mean, I just hate the way they look. And I know this car is pretty low to the ground, or well, here in the Lexus GX community, they call this SUV here a truck. This truck is already pretty low to the ground. Approach angles, departure angles aren't exactly the greatest. And if I actually did wheel this thing, which is very capable off-road, I'm probably gonna tear them things up anyways. So I just went ahead and removed them, but I didn't want to lose the lights. I did like the lights. That's why I came up with the idea to just shove them back up under the car. And I made some small, minor fabrications. But all in all, I think it turned out pretty good for not costing me a dime. Just costed me a little bit of time. All right, and this is the finished product here. When I unlock the car, the lights come on.